and thank you for joining us for this week's edition of It's Your City. I'm your host, Courtney Bloomer, and today's episode is brought to you by Greenhouse Garden Center in Carson City. They're hosting an apple cider press on October 22nd and 23rd from 10 to 3. Bring your clean and quartered apples. Cores are okay. No worms, to the Greenhouse Garden Center on October 22nd and 23rd to press your own apple cider. For more information, visit their website at the address shown on your screen. Our guest today is Sue Merriweather, the clerk recorder of Carson City, and she's here today to talk to us about voting. The presidential election is coming right up in just a few weeks, and folks are, a lot of people are really interested in this election. Where do they need to go to register to vote?
They are. The deadline for registering at DMV and by mail has passed, but you can still come into the clerk's office. We're at 885 East Musser in the courthouse on the first floor. We're open 8 to 5. We are there on Saturdays from 10 to 2. We also have online registration. The Secretary of State's office has the website. It's registertovotnv.gov. So you could do that up until October 18th, or through October 18th, I should say. And yeah, we are getting a lot of interest, a lot of applications, a lot of new registered voters, a lot of people who haven't voted in a while. But it is a very active election.
All right. Now, you mentioned those places at your office and also online. When is the absolute last day that people can register to vote?
That would be the October 18th.
On the 18th,
it's a Tuesday,
all modes.
Right.
On October 18th, it's over and you can't register after that point.
Correct.
Now, talk a little bit about what people need to do who may have moved or maybe don't know if they're registered to vote or not. How can they find out that information?
They can go on the Secretary of State's website. It's nvsos.gov, and they have, if you go under their election link, there is a spot where you can actually put in your name and verify your voter registration. So that's very helpful, and I really highly recommend everyone to do that. If your address isn't current or up to date in our systems, you will not receive a sample ballot. The sample ballots will be mailed out. We're trying to get those mailed out on October 17th so that you get them plenty of time for early voting.
All right. Now, you brought up early voting, so let's talk for a minute about that. Early voting for folks who maybe want to get their vote counted, they want to get it in there, they're not available to go to the polls on Election Day. How do you request an early voting ballot?
So, we get a lot of people that come into our office and say, I won't be here on Election Day. In Nevada, we have what's called early voting, and a lot of people are new to this state, so I think this information is really important. We start voting for the election on October 22nd. It's a Saturday. It's a very busy day, but there's a lot of people out there that just can't wait to get out there and get their votes in. Of course, they're not cast until Election Day, so no results or anything will be distributed before then. But if someone cannot come into the polling place, there's absentee voting, I think is what you're referring to. Maybe if you're going to be absent from your home or you're unable to leave your home to vote. We are mailing actually absentee ballot requests. The military and overseas and out of state have already been sent. We've already been receiving ballots. We are sending out all our absentee ballot requests. We have I believe over 1,500 requests. Those should be going out at the end of this week. And so people will be getting those.
All right. Now, so let's just clarify that one more time for folks. Early voting, you just need to go to one of the designated early voting places. You don't have to register specially to vote early.
No. Once you're registered as a registered voter, we recommend you look at your sample ballot, review it. You could even mark your ballot, read the ballot questions. We have 4 statewide ballot questions and a county question. Mark your ballot and bring it with you. Using that ballot or using that sample ballot, when you come in to vote, we scan the barcode and it's a very quick process. Early voting, you come in, you don't even need your sample ballot, just your name is good. You come in and you vote. That starts the 22nd. I guess I didn't finish the dates. And that runs through the following Friday, which is November 4th. It runs through November 4th. That's the last day you could early vote. Then the election is held on Tuesday, the 8th. So if you didn't get into to early vote during those 2-week time period, then you could vote on election day. Early voting is specifically at the courthouse in our office down the hallway. A lot of our voters are familiar with it. But we will have, on election day, you could come to the courthouse to vote, or you could go to the community center. We have the 2 locations for election day.
All right.
Now, early voting, the hours for early voting, we're open Saturdays 10 until 2, and then during the week, we're open 8 until 6. So that gives
Lots of flexibility there.
Yes, and we are open the holiday, Nevada Day. We're open that Friday. We are open Halloween. We're open Nevada Day Friday, 8 to 6. And then Nevada Day, we're open 10 to 2. So,
right.
So a lot of people probably think that we're not, but if you're down at the parade, they could come in.
Pop right on over after you're done watching the rock drilling competition. Come on over and cast your early ballot.
Right.
All right. So for people who need to register, and the 18th is the last day.
Yes.
And then early voting starts just after that on the 22nd.
Right. So the turnaround time is kind of a short time period for us. So we're going to go ahead and send all the registered voters that we get in, that were mail-in or recent, up and through the, I believe it's the 11th. We'll send their sample ballots out right away. Then we're going to do a second mailing of sample ballots, and you'll get voter registration cards sometime, hopefully before early voting starts. But with the shortness of time and mailing service, and it's hard to coordinate it all.
All right. All right, so we've talked a little bit about registration and opportunities to vote, but as we mentioned earlier, this election is bringing out a lot of people who are maybe first-time voters or who haven't voted in a while. Talk briefly about what folks can expect when they arrive at the polls. How do they actually vote? What is their election day experience going to be like?
Well, when you come in to vote, like I said before, sample ballots expedite the process. So 2 reasons. It brings you up. We in Carson City, we use electronic poll books, and so we can scan the barcode and verify we verify your address. We have you sign on an electronic tablet, and then we issue your ballot. You go to the voting machines and you put your card in there, and it brings up your ballot style, which in Carson City we're fortunate enough not to have a bunch of different ballot styles, so it makes it quite easy. That is for early voting and on election day, either way you vote. What you'll do is you'll come in. We no longer look you up by precinct or alphabet. You used to have to come in by alpha character, but you just come into the line, and all the poll books, all the data, all the registered voters are in the poll book, so you don't have any specific location to go to. You could go to either or.
All right. Okay. Now, for folks who are concerned about some of those things that you just said about electronic ballots and whatnot, I know some folks are apprehensive still about electronic types of things. What kind of help is going to be available for them?
We have trained election workers. We'll make sure that we call them our assistant team leaders, and that's exactly what they do. They assist you. They have red vests on. If you have any trouble with your ballot, understanding how to put your card in the machine, you're a first-time voter in Carson City or in Nevada, they will assist you in putting that in there. The key to it is you put your card in, you vote your ballot, you verify on the screen who you voted for, That information, then you print the ballot out on a verified receipt that stays in the machine, and you verify that who you voted for is the same person that shows up on that printout, and then you cast your ballot and the card comes out and you turn that back into the card collector. That is a lot of people, there's a lot of talk about trusting the electronic ballots. The ballots or the machines are audited after the election to verify, not all of them, but most of them. We verify to make sure that the results are matching what's on those printouts. We manually check that. We have a board.
Right.
We have a board of different party members.
So folks who are concerned about election fraud can rest assured that you guys are going to be going through and making sure
Right.
that the votes that are reported are indeed the votes that were cast.
Correct. And that's and that's done by different we call it a certification board. And so just to ease everyone's mind.
All right. Now, I know that a lot of people are very enthusiastic about certain candidates in this election. Can you talk for a minute about what some of the rules are about being at the polling place and doing that kind of lobbying, if you will, for a candidate?
Yeah, any campaigning has to be held within or outside 100 feet of the polling place, the entrance to the polling place. If someone wears campaign material in or is electioneering, it's not allowed in a polling place. So if someone comes in with a hat or a button, we ask them to remove it. If they have a T-shirt or something on that they can't remove, we do have smocks available to cover up.
All right. So just a word to folks. Expect that you're not going to be allowed to be campaigning in the polling places.
And there are, we do get periodically campaign signs, in the parking lot. I try to recommend to the candidates not to take up parking spaces in the polling place because I truly believe this is going to be a very, very active election day. So try and discourage taking up parking spaces, but we've looked into it and they're able to park cars, campaign, as long as it's 100 feet from the entrance.
All right.
So.
Do you have anything else you'd like to share with folks about this year's voting process?
Well, I just hope everyone's patient with us because I truly believe that it's going to be a very busy election. I encourage early voting. That first week is probably going to be our slowest times. We do have peaks, but the electronic poll books move people through very quickly. And if you didn't receive a sample ballot, you might want to bring in some your ID or your receipt that you registered to vote, or even call our office or stop by beforehand or check online with the Secretary of State's office.
All right.
Okay.
Sue Merriweather, thank you for being here with us
Thank
today,
you so much for having me.
and looking forward to an exciting election season.
Me too.
And thank you for joining us for this week's edition of It's Your City, brought to you by Greenhouse Garden Center, hosting their annual cider press on October 22nd and 23rd. Visit their website for more information and to sign up for their newsletter. I'm your host, Courtney Bloomer. We'll see you next week.